I decided to clear all of Genshin's content without rolling a single time. I have already beaten everything the game has to offer with the wish system, but I wondered how much harder it would be without it. One of the quickest ways to improve the power level of your account is by wishing and obtaining powerful 5-star characters and weapons. This being a gacha game where the whole point is to roll for characters, they lock most of the best characters and weapons behind this system called wishing. So it's going to be an interesting challenge trying to navigate through Genshin while completely ignoring this aspect of the game. But how difficult would it actually be? While there might be a few more difficult encounters during the main story, most people agree that Genshin Impact isn't a super difficult game. Many people say that because with enough investment, you can clear the game's hardest content with any character that you want, no matter how bad they are. But all of the people who say that are using the wish system. The whole system of gacha is based around luck. If you start playing Genshin Impact at a time where a broken character happens to be on the banner and then you happen to get them in a single 10 pull, you are extremely far ahead. But for me, I can't do that. I will have a very restricted character pool because I am not allowed to wish. But that doesn't mean that I'm stuck with just the Traveler, the character that you start with. While playing Genshin Impact, you are given some free characters and weapons for completing certain parts of the game. The first 3 characters that you will receive are Amber, Kaya, and Lisa. You get these characters very easily because Genshin uses a system that involves a party of 4 characters where you can freely switch between any character in your party. So they give you these 3 characters very quickly because they wanted you to be able to play with this 4-party system even early in the game. But the fun doesn't stop there. There are actually multiple permanent event characters that are given to you for free as long as you accomplish specific tasks. You can get Barbara by completing the Mondstadt quest A Long Shot. You can get Xiangling by clearing the 3rd floor of the Spiral Abyss. You can get Kale by clearing the 4th floor. And I am going to need every character that I can get. Because while you can just build one team of 4 characters and beat the entire main story with that team, that is not all of Genshin Impact's content. There is a mysterious island at the edge of the map called Musk Reef. On this island, there is a portal that takes you to the Spiral Abyss. The Spiral Abyss is 12 floors of the most difficult content that Genshin Impact has to offer, and in the later floors of the Abyss, they require that you have 2 different teams to enter. And these 12 floors made this challenge an absolute nightmare to complete. So basically, to complete all of Genshin's content without wishing, I was going to need 2 different teams of 4 characters. But I couldn't just throw random characters together willy-nilly. I was going to need to take a look at the characters and weapons that I could acquire without wishing to form a cohesive team. I knew that doing this would be difficult because of how limited my character and weapon pool would be, but I had a strategy. Hyperbloom. This is a very powerful elemental reaction, which is also easier to build characters around because it requires a lot less RNG to build. Unfortunately, these aren't the best characters to use in a Hyperbloom team. They actually aren't great characters in general, but Hyperbloom is such a good reaction that it doesn't really matter. You can easily clear all of Mondstadt, Liyue, and Inazuma with it, which is exactly what I did because Kale isn't the only Dendro character that you are given. The Traveler can also have the Dendro element, and the Dendro Traveler is who I decided to use during this run. I completely abused the fact that you are given access to this broken elemental reaction that you shouldn't have yet. There was only one single boss fight that gave me a bit of trouble in the entire main story of Genshin Impact, that being the Raiden Shogun. It's pretty funny because the Raiden Shogun is actually a fun boss fight if you don't have super overpowered characters that insta-kill the boss. When you actually have to interact with the enemy's mechanics for a long duration because you do no damage, Genshin Impact is really fun. I realized that while cheesing the Raiden Shogun with a Hyperbloom team that also used the Geo Traveler so that I could get shields from the elemental reaction crystallized to block damage just in case I made a mistake. And I made many mistakes. I realized the reason why a lot of people say that Genshin Impact is an easy game, and also why I think it's easy, is because of how insane you can make your characters. You can overtune them to the point that you don't actually have to interact with the enemy's mechanics. Genshin Impact is easy because of the same reason that Pokemon games are easy. If you overlevel your starter Pokemon to level 100 and take it to fight a gym leader that only has level 30 Pokemon, it is not a fair fight. You can make all the mistakes that you want during this Pokemon battle and you will still win because of the vast difference between your Pokemon's stats. It's the same thing in Genshin. Once you have a well-built team, 99% of the game's content becomes a complete joke. But during this no wish run, I wasn't able to overtune my characters. I was speedrunning through the game, so I wasn't really farming for artifacts even when I was a high enough adventure rank to do so. I wasn't able to equip powerful weapons to boost my character's stats, and I was stuck at Constellation 0 for every single character except the Traveler. I had to make do with what I had, and I was forced to face the mechanics of the game head on. But Hyperbloom is still pretty broken. While this Hyperbloom team consisting of Lisa, Kale, Dendro Traveler, and Barbara is enough to obliterate the main story content of the game, I still needed a second team in order to clear the later floors of the Spiral Abyss. I am already done with Sumeru, the game's current final region, and I still only have Xiangling, Kaya, and Amber. How am I going to be able to do enough damage to the monstrous enemies in the Abyss with only 3 characters? Well, luckily for me, I won't have to, because not only does Genshin have permanent event characters like Xiangling and Barbara, but they also have temporary event characters that come along every couple of patches that you can only get during that patch. And luckily, coming up in patch 3.6, I was going to get to choose a free 4-star Liyue character for the Lantern Rite event. I was stuck between Yao Yao and Xingqiu. On one hand, Yao Yao is a healer and I desperately needed a healer for the second team, but I don't know if it would be worth giving up Xingqiu's damage and all of his utility. As it stands, I don't think that Yao Yao will be as useful as the powerhouse that is Xingqiu. Don't be fooled, Xingqiu is one of the best characters in the game at C6, but he is still an amazing unit at C0. His elemental skill provides damage reduction, and he also has a minor heal when his elemental burst ends. I figure that with the damage reduction and minor heal, it will be enough to get me through the Spiral Abyss as long as I play really well and avoid taking too much damage. But boy was I wrong. Floors 1 through 8 are pretty easy because you can just pump your characters up to level 90 and the level difference will tilt the damage multipliers in your favor. But once you hit the later floors, the enemies will start to outlevel you. So you will need to rely on skill and sometimes even good RNG to be able to clear them. I try floor 9 and I am genuinely surprised. Things are going very smoothly. The team comp that I have is working out very well. I'm not doing as much damage because I don't have as efficient team rotations as on my main account, but it is still enough for me to easily get 3 stars on every chamber in floor 9. I'm now feeling pretty confident, so I try out floor 10 and I get bodied. I guess I got too comfortable on my main account where my characters are already built and forgot that you need to actually farm for artifacts in order for your characters to do damage. So I spend a month and a ton of fragile resin grinding for artifacts, and here's what I come up with. I get an Emblem of Severed Fate set for Xingqiu, Xiangling, and the Dendro Traveler, a 2-piece Wanderers and 2-piece Gilded for Lisa, a Deepwood Memory for Kale, a 2-piece Tenacity and 2-piece Maiden's Beloved for Barbara, a 2-piece Noblesse and 2-piece Blizzard for Kaya. I try floor 10 again with my new artifact sets and it made a world of difference. I choose to focus on getting artifacts with a lot of energy recharge to make up for my lack of Favonius weapons on my second team. I still wasn't able to burst on cooldown, but I was still able to do enough damage to clear each chamber with 3 stars. Now the next obstacle was going to be floor 11. The last 2 floors of the Spiral Abyss have an insane spike in difficulty. I figured that I was not going to be able to get 3 stars on every chamber like I did with floors 9 and 10, but that was okay. I didn't need all 9 stars. I only needed 6. In the Spiral Abyss, the next floor only unlocks if you've gotten at least a total of 6 stars between all of the chambers. That means that if I cleared floor 11 with anything less than 6 stars, then floor 12 would not unlock. But getting 6 stars is far easier than getting all 9. So I went in knowing that that is all I need. And I am hit with a cold, hard dose of reality. I suck at dodging in Genshin Impact. And it's not only that. See, enemies' attack patterns are sort of randomized in the Spiral Abyss. Now, there could be 3 enemies all attacking you at the exact same time, which is fine, because you can dodge that. But if those same 3 enemies decide to stagger their attacks and they all attack one after another, then it becomes impossible to dodge and you are forced to take damage. When the fights last as long as they do because I can't output enough damage with this random mishmash of free characters I have, it becomes very likely that this will happen multiple times. It becomes painfully clear that with my current roster, I won't be able to clear the Spiral Abyss without a second healer. I will have to wait for the next free event character and pray that they are a healer. When the next event character is announced, my heart sinks. It's Farazan, an Anemo damage support that amplifies Anemo damage. Do you see an Anemo character on my team, Hoyoverse? I can't complete the Spiral Abyss, and so I stop logging into the No Wish account. But then, 4 months later, a new free event character is announced. Layla will be obtainable during the 3.8 summer event. Layla isn't a healer, but she is the next best thing. She is a shielder. Yes, I can't avoid every single attack, but if I have a shield to tank the few attacks that I can't dodge, then I should still be able to clear the Spiral Abyss. With a newfound motivation, I log back into the account, I clear the 3.8 event, and I get Layla. I swap out Amber for Layla, and now my second team has some survivability. This is great. I realized that removing Amber made it so my Xiangling can't use her burst as often, but that's okay. I'm now actually able to survive floor 11, and oh my god, I did it. I managed to get 7 stars on floor 11. I now have access to floor 12. This is the last floor standing between me and completing this challenge. I hop into floor 12, I step out ready for battle, and then I realize that it's Rift Hounds. So if you did not know, Rift Hounds are a dastardly enemy that have this annoying little mechanic called corrosion. If these Rift Hounds ever touch you, then the corrosion will be applied and the corrosion slowly eats away at your health. The best part about this is that corrosion can be applied even when you have a shield. So even though you don't take damage from the attack because of the shield, your entire team will still continuously lose health because of the corrosion. So I'm gonna need a healer for floor 12. You might be asking, why don't I just switch my teams? Why don't I just put the Hyperbloom team on the first half and my Xiangling team on the second half? I could, but there's a problem. These electric Dorito enemies on the second half have a fun mechanic as well. If you don't defeat these enemies quickly enough, which I won't because I don't do any damage, they will go into this invisible state where they also take reduced damage. The only way to get them out of this state is to apply the elemental reaction Quicken. The Xiangling team doesn't have any Dendro or Electro, so when I get to the electric Dorito enemies, they just go invisible and laugh at my frustration. So I have to use the Hyperbloom team in the second half. I could swap Xingqiu off of the Xiangling team for Barbara and put Layla on the Hyperbloom team so that I have survivability while also having a healer in the first half. Except I find out that if I take out Xingqiu, I lose too much damage and I can't clear in time. It is so frustrating because I feel like I'm so close, but I am just missing one small thing. And then the version 4.0 free event character is announced. I am blessed with the exact character that I need. Version 4.0's free event character was Bennett. Bennett is a healer, but also a damage amplifier. Bennett is also the perfect pair for Xiangling because her elemental burst cost is so high. Bennett produces a bunch of elemental energy with his skill, and it makes it so much easier to burst with Xiangling on cooldown even without a Favonius weapon. With the absolute W that is Bennett, I think that I can do it. I can finally clear the Spiral Abyss. Just one tiny little problem. It turns out that trying to clear the Spiral Abyss with C0 4-star characters that are only half built is kinda difficult. This wasn't the hardest thing that I've ever done in a video game, but it was definitely the hardest thing I had ever tried in Genshin Impact. Yes! Let's go! I've never been so happy about 0 stars in the Spiral Abyss. But it was also some of the most fun that I've had in Genshin. I was not able to just abuse my completely overtuned characters here. I had to remain consistent with the little damage output that I had, or else there was no way I was clearing in time, and I actually had to dodge enemy attacks. Even though I think that this was a stupid idea, I am so glad that I tried this out. Trying to complete the Spiral Abyss with this account was similar to solving a puzzle. What are the best weapons to use now that I can't just abuse Favonius weapons? What teams can I realistically make with the characters that I am given? This account made me genuinely giddy to find out what the next free event character would be and if that character would make my teams better. Finally, after 5 months of playing on this account, after so many attempts. Damn, I'm so close. Oh my god. I finally clear floor 12 of the Spiral Abyss. Oh, shoot. Oh, God, Why was that so hard just to get 0 stars? This was a really fun challenge to do, but in doing this challenge, I realized that while I can clear the Spiral Abyss, there is no way that I'm going to be able to 36 star it without wishing. Too much power is locked behind constellations and weapons. Even if I farmed more and got everybody insane artifacts, I would still probably only be able to get like 4 to 6 stars on floor 12. But I also don't want to completely give up either. So I think that the next step for this account is taking the 43,000 Primo Gems that I have built up on this account and using them on the weapon banner. If I am able to give these characters the best weapons possible, maybe, just maybe, I might be able to one day 36 star the Abyss on this account with these characters. I'm going to give their builds that I'm showing right now a bit more love and wait for the weapons I need to show up on the weapon banners. As I said, I stopped logging into this account in the middle of patch 3.4 and didn't log back in until the Klee 3.8 summer event. I was really kicking myself during this run because that extra time farming for talent materials and artifacts probably would have helped me a lot. I definitely should have R5'd the catch for Xiangling before doing this. I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Taiyuuji, and this is how I cleared all of Genshin's content without wishing a single time.